Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Defectives. This is Darren.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Ryan, and
we got a special guest here with us. An individual that, for me, I've known for close to 6 years, but not at this level that I think we're getting ready to find out about, which is cool. And that's my buddy, Pastor Zack.
Thank you for having me on, guys. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Yeah. It's really good seeing you guys. It really is.
Yeah, I've known Zach for the span of 2 months, 3 weeks apart. It's good to have you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
I'm excited about tonight. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so we're gonna just throw a few things out there and open up and let Pastor Zack get kind of give us a little warm up about what perhaps his journey has looked like up until today type of scenario, right? So you want to just give us a little background about what led you towards seeking spirituality, towards seeking God?
I was in active addiction for 7 years, and within those 7 years, I was trying to get clean. And I kept doing it my way. And I learned the hard way that I had to change the way I think in order for me to live differently. So I found out the hard way, think differently, live differently. And I had an encounter. I had an encounter with God. I wasn't seeking him out. Some people's stories were always about them hitting rock bottom. Me, everything was good. Now, everybody's rock bottom looks different.
Yeah.
But I had a great job, had a lot more hair, making a lot of money. Good. I mean, I was living on 11th and Asbury in Ocean City. I mean, everything was good.
Chilling.
Right, chilling. And I remember my roommate was going to Pennsylvania for the weekend. I was like, all right, got the apartment to myself. I got a whole bag of weed to smoke. That's what I did, right to the face, smoked it, and while I was getting high, I heard this voice on the inside of me, an internal voice, and it said, "Why are you wasting your life?" And I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, "This is some good weed."
Yeah.
That was the first thing that came to my head. I'm like, "This is good." And I heard the voice again. Yeah. "Why are you wasting your life?" And this time when I heard the second time, I just, for no reason, I mean, I know why now, but I just broke down. I just started crying. And I remember looking up to the ceiling, and I don't even know why I said it, but it just came out. I said, "God, if this is you, prove yourself to me." Honest to God. And no lie, 5 minutes later, the phone rings, and it's my aunt from Florida. And she calls me up and she says, "Zach?" I said, "Yes, who's this?" She goes, "This is your Aunt Rosie." Like, at this time in my life, I had pruned everyone from my life because of my addiction. I didn't want to hear it from anybody. She goes, this is exactly what she said. "God is trying to get your attention, so pay attention."
What the fuck?
And she freaks me out, and she goes, "I gotta go. Bye." Honest to God. Dude, when she hung up, I knew something was reaching out, man. Yeah. And that was my first encounter with God.
Wow.
Like, before that, I mean, I went to church, and I knew all the stuff, but that was like my first time where God revealed himself. And my journey started there.
That's a pretty clear-cut sign. Like, "Hey, bud, Lord. Yes, I am here, and what the fuck are you doing?" And podcast over. Thanks for coming. That was fucking,
man. I don't know if I ever actually had heard that story, even when well, just to give a little background to our story, I met Pastor Zack in RCA when I came in as a patient, and you had just kind of started. You were almost like on I don't know that it was a per diem scenario, but you definitely were given. You were
part-time.
Yeah.
Part-time.
And I mean, for me, I remember, and this was how I was. I saw your name on the thing, and I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm good."
Yeah.
And then a couple of the girls were like, "Oh my God, you got to go see Pastor Zack." I was like, "Oh, absolutely." So listen, all these struggles and challenges I have with women throughout my whole life, it brought me to you though, because I followed them right into your class.
Come on.
I'll get you in.
Yeah, right.
Got me in too.
Yeah.
One of the names I like to call God is Jehovah Sneaky. He's sneaky, boy. He knows how to get your attention.
Yeah.
He knows how to snatch you up.
So how old were you when you know, when you were running?
I was 24.
When that happened?
When that happened.
So you were running in your teens and then up to,
yeah.
Heavy.
Mm-hmm. First 18 all the way to 24.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first year, actually last year of high school. And, 7 years, man. 7 years of hell.
Yeah. Now, you've been clean since then?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So 24 years?
So yeah.
Wow.
So I lost track after 20. I
gotcha.
stopped counting after
Yeah.
It's kind of like, because I'm just one decision of going back.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and I keep it real, and I tell everybody, you know, when I run group, and I'm very transparent with this, you know, I love to get high. There's something in me that likes to get high. There's something in me that loves crack cocaine.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm just one decision of going back to that. And I have to make sure that I am very, very close to my higher power.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that gets me through each day. Mm-hmm. Without that relationship, without abiding in him, I'm done. I'm in big trouble.
Yeah, we know what that looks like. Looks like sitting on the couch talking to God.
This is good weed.
Right. That's funny, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I remember I came into your class, and you had a guitar sitting next to you, and you had a big bright glow to your face, right? Like a big smile, and people were very excited to be in this class. Like you could feel there was this vibe in there, and I'm guessing they had gone to a few of yours. The first time I went to you, I was only a couple days into the thing, so I hadn't gone to it yet, and but you could feel the vibe, and I was like, this feels different than the other groups that I've been to so far. And nothing against those, but when you can feel an energy in a room that is like, we are excited for what's getting ready to happen. And I would find out that, I don't know if it was that one or it was the next one, but I know what you did for me, and that was not just in your talk, because there was power there was energy, and there was an excitement that lined up with another man from there, Chris Brennan, who was similar to you in this excitement of not doing drugs anymore and living life, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Why are these guys so excited about this? And you started talking, and I started to tune out almost, because the word God came up, you know, and I knew it was coming because you had pastor at the beginning of your name, and I'm like, I know it's coming, and it started coming, and I was like, but because of that energy, I didn't shut out, right, and that was new to me, because I was a Catholic schoolboy, you know, for most of my childhood, as we've discussed on here and previously. And you broke out that guitar, and that, I think, is probably what got me to now not only not just listen, but like pay attention. And you handed out the words to the song, and you handed out a couple other little things, and it was the song, Everything and Nothing Less. That thing meant so much to me. My mom printed out the song words and put it in a picture frame for me that sits next to my bed today, and it's also the tattoo that's on my arm, right? I mean, this is what you did for me, was to open. Well, you're the first one that got me to think that, well, maybe, right? Like, well, maybe, okay, I'm not going to leave the room. It was the room right across from the cafeteria too, so you were real noticeable if you got up and left. But I wasn't gonna leave the room, right? And I remember I cried during one of the singings of that song, and I knew something was a little different at that moment, because for me to cry in front of people and it not to be used in manipulation form, right? Like usually when I'm crying in front of people, it's because I'm going to need some things from y'all. And that wasn't the case, right? I was sitting there and I was crying, and the tears were just coming down. I wasn't trying to hide it. And I was like, what the is this? You know? The greatest thing is I didn't even know I didn't even know what the words were to the song, even though they were in front of me. And I didn't understand much about it. But for some reason, just listening to you sing got me to be present at that moment.
Mm. One of the things that I'm really big on is the presence of God, because His presence is what really changes us. Going to a spiritual meeting and learning information about God is not enough. I say this all the time. Information without revelation will never bring transformation. And me opening up the meetings with music right now in heaven as we're speaking, there's music. There's a huge concert taking place. God loves music. And when I would open up my groups, it would always be with music, because God will always inhabit the praises of His people. God is in the center of praise. He's in the center of worship. So music creates this atmosphere so that God can be there and we can experience. So that energy that you were feeling was just God just saying, I'm here. Here I am. And you felt it and you were open. And no matter what the motive was for you to get there, you got there and he got your attention. And that's to hear you say that, it's a huge blessing. Thank you for sharing that. You know, sometimes you don't hear or see the fruits of your labor. Yeah. And I'm looking and I'm hearing the fruit. So it's a blessing to me right now.
Yeah, man.
That's fire. I'm going to go take a nap. So were you raised like religious? Were you go to, was there a Catholic school? Was it, you know?
I'll tell you what happened. My mom would so my mom and dad separated. They separated due to like adultery and all that stuff. And we lived in New York for 15 years. It was just my mom, me, my brother, my sister, and she would take us to church. But we went.
Right.
Yeah, you know, we went, and there was a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on in the home, you know. But we just went. Nothing. But I always knew as a little kid that God had something for me. I don't know what it was, but I just knew there was always something more to life than just what everybody was talking about. But I didn't know what that was. But at the age of 15, I gave my heart to the Lord. I gave my heart to Jesus. So like, you know, so here's a disclaimer. Here's the small print. Jesus is my higher power, right? And some people freak out with that, yo. They're like, because you know, it's easy to talk about God,
right?
Let's talk about God,
right?
All right, God, higher power. But when we start talking about Jesus, everyone's like, yo, hold on, no. It's like Jesus is offensive. You know what I mean? His teachings were offensive. I mean, they killed the dude because he was claiming to be God. You know, they didn't kill him because he was a good person. The reason why he got stoned was because he made himself one with God. They're like, no, wait a second, you're not going to do this. We're going to take you out. And that's why they killed him. But anyway, with that being said, you know, Jesus is my higher power. I gave my life to him at 15. And I just knew him in here. And at the age of 24, he showed himself to me in a way that, you know, and I could tell you a story where he walked into my room, but I don't know if we got time for that.
We got time for it. Now I need to hear it.
You want to hear the story?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, because it was
100%.
it was one of those experiences to where it just kind of it was like, you know, the whipped cream on the sundae.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, because it's kind of like you have all these religions, and it's like you got and I'm not here to talk bad about any other faiths, but to me it was kind of like, God, prove yourself to me, you know, and God proved himself to me through the person of Jesus. So one night I go to bed, and you know that state where you're up but you're sleeping. It's kind of, I think they call it REM sleep. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I was at, and I was laying down, and I was just kind of in this. It was like 3:00 in the morning. I remember waking up but still sleeping. Weird. Looking at the clock, it's 3:00, and my door flings open. And the 11 disciples walk into my room. Bro. Honest to God. And I wasn't stoned. I wasn't high. I had a couple years clean. And I'm like, whoa. And I knew, and it's pitch black, and the 11 disciples walk in, they're on my bed, and I knew who each one was by name. I could hear them talking, but their mouths aren't talking. Their mouths aren't moving. Weird. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, what's going on? There was this fear but peace at the same time.
Yeah.
And I just knew that I knew. Like, I really believe when we get to heaven, there's not gonna be no introductions. You're just gonna know who everybody is. Yeah. Oh, that's Moses. Oh, that's Adam. Oh, that's Eve. That's whatever. You know what I mean? You're just gonna know. Oh, that's Ryan. You're just gonna know. And I just knew who they were. And they're around the bed, and all of a sudden they kind of like parted. They kind of like moved away, and Jesus walks into the room. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember looking at him, and his eyes, there was just so much love, man. And I'm like, but when I looked at him, I was so ashamed because I knew he knew everything. Like, we got so many secrets, man. There are things that you haven't told anybody. And when I looked at him, it was like all that stuff was exposed. Like, I knew that he knew everything about me, everything that nobody knew. And I looked away. And I looked away in shame. And I could feel him pulling me to look at him. He never opened up his mouth one time. He never said anything to me. He just looked. And I looked at him because I could feel him pulling at me. And there was something he wanted to say to me, but he didn't say it because it wasn't time yet. And I remember looking at him, and just for 2 seconds, it was just this eye-to-eye contact, and I woke up. And I woke up that morning, and I was like, oh, my God. And it felt so real, dude. It felt so real.
It was real.
Yeah, oh, it was. No, it was.
No, and that shame you're talking about that's what, jeez. So I couldn't imagine anything could love me after all the shit I did. Like, how I hated myself. So how could anything or anybody love me after all of the shit I did up until that point? And the love I felt when I had my moment was all love. Like, unless you know that feeling of all love, the word all love it doesn't even carry, it carries no weight. But that feeling of all love was like, oh my God, it's all going to be okay. Like, all the shame that I felt and all the embarrassment and guilt and hatred I had for myself in that moment was lifted, gone. Like, everything was washed away. So anxiety washed away, the depression, whatever word you want to put on it, was washed away, gone, lifted for me. And I was like, what the fuck is capable of that? There's only one thing I've heard of. There's only one thing that people talk about that I know is capable of that. And it's nothing human. Something greater than me.
That's good.
Oh, it was good.
That's real good.
The best fucking drug ever.
The best high is the most high.
Yeah, for real. I was like, dude, it was the greatest feeling of my life. I've talked about it on here before, but it was at a moment of just pure defeat, pure death. Nothing left done. Ball game's over. I'm out. Like that.
So good,
dude. Like
it's like when light invades the darkness. And that's my subtitle for Faith Over Addiction. We'll get into later.
Yeah, well, I want to hear about it. I think that's a good segue into what is this?
So I've been working with churches, rehabs for the past 11 years, and I'm so thankful for the past 11 years because it's prepared me for this season of my life. And on September 19th, I was laid off from Recovery Centers of America. And I tell you what, I am so thankful for Recovery Centers of America because they gave me an opportunity to meet a lot of people, to let me use my gift. And I'm so thankful for them. I really am. And I just kind of felt like the Lord was just leading me. It's time to step out the boat. So I started a group about 2 years ago called Faith Over Addiction. And I really couldn't put my heart and soul into it because I was working full time. So after getting laid off, I felt like the Lord was saying, this is what I want you to do. I want you to do this thing full time. And so what Faith Over Addiction is, I believe it's a deliverance ministry. Now and I'm not talking about UPS or FedEx.
Kind of. Just different package.
Yeah, right. So deliverance ministry is a ministry to where pretty much where light invades the darkness. And sometimes that can get a little messy because there is, I believe, in demonic possession and also demonic oppression. Addiction is a spiritual problem. And without a spiritual solution, our lives become unmanageable. We need more, and I want to be careful how I say this because I believe in AA, I believe in NA, I believe in Celebrate Recovery, which is a Christian AA version. I believe in rehab. I believe in treatment. I believe in detox. I believe in the 12 steps. I believe in all these things. I promote them. But when it comes to deliverance and the supernatural power of God in our lives, we need something just a little bit more. We need something, let me say this way. We need something supernatural to invade our lives, to bring us to a place of spiritual awakening. Now, all those other things are good and they're great, and that works for some people, but there are some people where heaven needs to come down and just and do a mighty work. If that makes any sense.
Makes perfect
Deliverance,
sense to me.
freedom.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that's a process. So when light invades darkness is the subtitle for Faith Over Addiction. I'm excited. I got some logos made up, and actually I paid someone to get the logos done. Actually, they just emailed me, so I haven't looked at it yet. So I'm kind of excited to check them out. So
now, is this in Atlantic County right now?
So there's actually five or six services we'll be providing. Okay. First is I will be going into the rehabs and running groups, kind of like a facilitator.
Sure.
The second will be a membership site to where people can go log on, and pretty much it will be kind of like spiritual maintenance. It's new content every month, and it's just teaching people how to renew their minds, because that's where freedom comes. Freedom comes from changing the way we think, and people need to be coached in that. So I'll coach people through this membership site, and with the membership site, I will also have people coming through the Facebook group, and just staying in contact with them. Also going to churches, training people how to break free from addiction. And the big goal is to have faith over addiction groups in different areas and training facilitators and then compensating the facilitators and them leading the groups. So kind of like AA. You got AA groups.
Right.
Well, I would like to have a faith, it would be FOA, an FOA group, and people running those groups, but there would be a training. So it would be Faith Over Addiction University or Training Center, to where we would train people to run groups so that they can just do their thing, so that they can have an outlet to move in their gift. But they would be compensated. And I think I talked to you about this, and I'm really big on this one. I want to compensate them. I want to pay them, because we have a lot of talented people, a lot of people that are gifted. God has delivered them. God has used them in a powerful way, but yet, we ask them to use their time to speak and run groups, and they're not compensated. To me, I think that's unfair. So I think it's a blessing. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. So
yeah, it's awesome.
And I'm still working things out. I mean, I really don't know. And I just...
That sounded pretty... But
that can all change tomorrow.
Sounds pretty good.
So, this faith over addiction is, you mentioned Facebook. Is that an open?
No, that's a private group.
Okay, so you need to be invited by someone.
Or you could if you find the group online, you can you can send in you could request an invitation.
Gotcha.
And it'd have to be approved. It's not, the Facebook group is not public.
Right.
The membership site is not even active yet. That's still in the works.
Yeah.
What I'm doing right now is I'm actually creating a starter course so that people can get can kind of get their feet wet with the information. And then from there, I'll kind of find direction on which way to go with the membership site. What I'm really excited about is I'm going to be using some artificial intelligence software on the membership site. So and I want to be careful how I say this, because it's not a disrespect toward rehabs, but sometimes rehabs can have cookie cutter treatment. With artificial intelligence software, when you come up to the membership site, we're going to ask you questions, and it's going to direct you to what kind of information you need.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So if you come up to the website and you're struggling with fear, we're going to direct you to information about fear. If it's about lust or anger or anything, so not everyone that goes to the membership website is going to be dealing with the same character defects.
Right,
so I'm excited about that. That's
Yeah.
all.
Man.
Shit. Send it
Welcome
over
to the
this way.
future.
Send them to me.
That's
I
awesome.
can all use that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you had mentioned, Ryan, that you didn't have a whole lot of experience with him, but I know you had a experience
Yeah,
with him.
sure. Absolutely. Pastor Zack Sunday service was like, let's avoid that one at all costs. I'm not even until like the truth.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. No, it was
And I don't mean that by you. That's
and it is no offense to you. That is
No,
where I
get
stood
it.
with
I get it.
God
Trust me, I get it.
Yeah.
and religion, man. I wanted nothing to do with it, which kind of explains why I was in there dying. But so I used to go there and people watch and judge straight up. Like I would go in there Sunday mornings. That was my Sunday morning cartoon. And again, I do not mean any offense to this. It's just where I was. And so I go in there, I hear the guitar playing and the excitement, and I was like, I was sitting in the back and I was like, I kind of like this. Fuck. So I left, and then I came back the next week. I don't know if it was my first time in or I think it was my second time in.
I think I remember this.
I think I was.
I
my
remember
second
you
time
getting up
in.
and walking out.
So
Good.
I came back and I sat there and listened, and then you did the thing when you were going around praying, putting your hands on the shoulders, walking behind people, praying. Loud. Shit was loud too. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna come over here. Fuck. And you did, of course. And you came up right behind me and put your hands on my shoulders, and you were saying, never the same again, never the same again. And then you paused and you said, help this man repair the bridges he's burned. And like, that had been the theme of the whole week. And I was sitting there and my eyes were closed and my chest got hot. It got like blazing hot. And I was like, what the fuck? Like it was warm and then hot. And I was like, am I drugged right now? And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I felt, it washed over me. And I was like, I'm drugged right now. Something's fucked up. Like they put something in my cereal this morning. This is not. So, because I was scientifically geared, black and white, show me the facts. Not this. Was not ready to accept that at all. And I remember going to my therapist after that. And I was like, yo, I just had the wildest shit ever happen. And I told her that. And she was like, whoa. And I was like, yo, I don't know what that was. But that was like, so looking back at that, right? So I go from that, I get back out. I relapse a couple more times, wind up in a couple more detoxes, got arrested, all sorts of shit, all sorts of trouble. Which led to like a huge spiritual awakening. And once I had that, I realized that moment was just a little like, yo, I'm here. It was just yo, I'm here, and I felt it. And I was like, oh, fuck. That was you. But I was not ready to hear it. I was not ready to see it, feel it, hear it, nothing. But looking back, dude, it was like just a little, it was funny to me. I was like, oh, shit. You were just like nudging me like, yo, I'm here, letting me know.
Wow.
I came up after. I was like, thank you. I don't know what you just did to me, but thank you.
Wow.
And you're like, yeah. And I was like, I have no idea what just happened.
Wow.
Yeah. It was an experience. Much better now looking back on it than at the time. I was scared to death. I had no idea.
That's so good, man.
Couldn't be God. couldn't have been. I was not in a place where it was God. Like there was no God.
Mm.
Like I thought about God as much as you think about broccoli.
Mm.
You just don't. You know? Unless you're buying it.
And that's the importance of encounter.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
It's the encounter is everything. Because I can come to you all day long and give you a good message and inspire you and sound good and all this, but when something supernatural touches you, you can't refute that.
You can't deny it. And that's exactly what happened to me with the drinking. Right? Once you experience it, you cannot deny it anymore. And I was like, fuck. I was wrong. And I mean, it took a literal act of God for me to admit that I was wrong.
But he did it so gently too.
So warm. Come on. It was just like a warm, I just described it as like a ribbon blown through the breeze and just like blew through my soul.
Come on.
And it was just like,
so good, man.
Melted.
That's so good.
It's powerful.
Wow. Yeah. Bro, I got goosebumps.
Dude, this shit was fire. Like yeah, man. Like I was at work. I mean, I'll tell a short version of it to you. So I was out of my second rehab. And I'd started going through the steps and then went out and got arrested and was hit with 3 felonies. So like it was like DUI, 2 full rehabs, sober living, fucking 3 felonies. Like I was off the cliff, you know, done. And it was bleak. And then I was at work after I got out of the detox. So it was right after my 3rd detox. And I was alone and I was just walking around at work. Like crying, dude. Like I was crying like it was done. Like my days were numbered. Dead man walking. And I was walking under the plant and it was raining, but I was underneath this thing that like kind of went up on an angle like this. So it was raining on both sides and it was just like an intuitive turn. Like it wasn't a mental prayer. I didn't say anything, but it was just like my soul knew where to go. And it went there on its own and everything was removed for me. It was done for me. I didn't do shit. And then like that, it was a little ball of warm and it just washed over my whole body. And I just started bawling and like mental shift. Like I thought my family was against me. I thought my brothers were closing me out. And I was like, how lucky am I that I'm still alive? How lucky am I that I have my family still? How lucky am I for everything? Just everything changed. And then I looked behind me and I saw my past line up. Everything that happened brought me right there. And I was right where I needed to be. And I was like, oh my God, it's all going to be okay. Thank fucking God. Thank God.
Wow.
Yeah. So I felt the same little thing sitting in the back judging everybody. So in that moment, judging everybody still. Like what can possibly love me that much? To pull me out of the throes of addiction while I'm judging everybody in a Sunday service. Like that's a level of love that's infinite. To look past all that and get through that. Boom. And that's why I say I had nothing to do with my sobriety. Shit was done for me. I can't take credit for any of it. How could I?
You surrendered.
I kicked my own ass.
There's the word surrender, right? But come to find out, that's what that song was about too. Who would have known? Even though it mentions it multiple times in it.
Surrender.
Yeah.
It's a great song. Everything and Nothing Less by Chris McClarney. You should definitely listen to his live album.
I've listened to it. I've listened to some chunks of it.
Dude, it's really good, man. He's so great.
So you have we kind of touched on your early part, right on the couch where God spoke to you and your aunt confirmed it, and then we're here where you have this idea of how to deliver this gift, right, on a broader scope. So what went on in between, that time and this time? Like, what were some of your challenges with spirituality or faith, and what were some of the other big things? I mean, we're talking 20 plus years. I'm guessing there had to be some bumps in the road.
Yeah, for a long time, the lies. I was believing a lot of lies. I was believing that my value and worth was coming from other people. I was believing that my value and worth was coming from being loved by other people's opinions, performance, all these things, and I'm still being broken from those things. I haven't arrived. God is still breaking those strongholds. So a stronghold is when a lie is within our belief system. And God is breaking those things in my life. So I would have to say that the obstacles, well, I'll tell you what. So I got married late. I got married around 40. And that was a challenge because, for me getting married, I was just waiting for the right woman. And I'll keep it real. When I was young, I was like, I ain't getting married. I mean, me being with one woman for the rest of my life, you crazy. Excuse me. No, I ain't done. No way. Right? But the Lord had to change that too, because you talked about girls. Yeah. Same here. Yeah. Everything for me was women. I mean, that was it. And the Lord had to change my perspective on women. And that was hard because my first addiction was actually pornography. Okay. My first addiction, I was introduced to pornography at the age of 8. Oh, wow. And that carried all the way into my recovery. Mm-hmm. Even in my 20s, early 30s, I was struggling with pornography. Yeah. I struggled with a very long time. It's one of those deep, dark secrets.
Yeah.
Pastor Zack in ministry is still struggling with pornography.
Sure. Oh, that's right. That's a tough one.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about that.
Right.
But I thank God he's delivered me from that.
Oh, man.
Come on.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, this thing right here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's right there.
It's right there. It's right there.
Yeah.
And the temptation, it's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts. And not even just this, but just even watching like commercials. I got to be careful with what I'm watching. Yeah. I got to be careful with what I'm listening to. And if you were to ask me what's your biggest obstacle or struggle when it comes to being sober and just being a spiritual person, it would be lust, man. Lust.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it's one of those things nobody likes to talk about.
Yeah.
And I didn't read the book, but there's this book. It's called Every Man's Secret, and it talks about that thing, man. So during the summertime, I don't even go to the beach. I walk on the boardwalk, but I'm gonna try to go to the beach this summer, though. And hopefully everything be good, but everything should be good. I just got to keep my eyes to myself. I'll be with my wife, so she'll be keeping me in check. But what I'm saying is, the struggle, like for me, that thing that so someone told me one time that lust is like a sumo wrestler. It's a sumo wrestler on the inside of you, and you got to starve him every day. So it's like, am I going to feed my faith or am I going to feed my lust? Mm-hmm. And whatever you feed the most is going to win. Yeah. So that's that thing. It's like the thorn in my side. Mm-hmm. So
there's I've watched that harm a lot of people. And I've watched it take people out because they don't see it as the thing that it's just me. I'm just It's healthier for me to go this route instead of going out and harming girls. But what my experience with it is it perpetuates and continues to perpetuate my idea of what women were and are, right? It's not been part of my experience within recovery, but it certainly was leading up to, especially the last couple years of the run, where it perpetuated an idea of what all of a sudden I get here and I have certain ideas about where women stand in the world, right? And I remember listening to somebody and they were just talking about the idea that women were God's children too. And when they said that, I was like, what? Like that was like really new news to me. Like, cause I couldn't see them like that. And part of that was due to the pornography and my experiences within relationships that were unhealthy. You know, I don't bring anything healthy to those relationships when I'm in, especially when I was in addiction. You know, that's a different story today, but that took a lot of God taking away some things that I scratched and clawed at before the willingness was, you know, let go. Like, you know.
Yeah, I had to get myself in a shitload of trouble to even like start down that path, you know, to even recognize like, dude, it's my greatest character defect. Lust get me in so much trouble. And having absolutely no idea what I'm doing in relationships just compounds that fact. And the next thing I know, like my problems are mounting up on me and they're getting bigger. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? And so that shit was becoming a problem. And I was lying. To this guy. Wasn't telling him what I was doing and shit. Not good. And I can't live that way, you know. And I struggled with it for a while, but I'm on the sidelines right now. No dating, no nothing for however long it goes. And it's like the first time in my life I've done that, because I've had a girlfriend since I was in 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 4th grade?
She checked the yes box.
I asked her out friendlies. I hope she's not listening. I was just gonna fuck around, but I'm not. But yeah, no, I was always, you know, codependent as fuck, and all that just came up recently, and it was like, oh, dude, I got my ass kicked over, you know, when I actually saw it for what it was, when I saw the truth behind it. It hurt. That truth is ugly, man. And being alone is something that I physically learned how to be alone down in Ventnor, but I was still grasping for that woman, whatever. Didn't matter.
Oh, I know.
You know. And yeah, that shit just all got brought to the forefront. Like that's what I've been going through since November, really. It's a fucking journey.
So, in my singleness, I hated being single. So I hated it. I just hated it. And God had to bring me to a season of being content and being single. So, are you guys familiar with Christian Mingle? It's a dating site. Yeah, it's a dating site. You got plenty of fish. You got all different kinds of it, right? But I was on Christian Mingle for about 2.5 years. Dude, I got some crazy stories. Oh, God, sure. Bro. Crazy stories. But I'm going to spare you that.
Yeah.
But I want to give you the quick version. I remember the Lord was just saying, you know what? I want you to get off this site. Just get off of it. Because I would drive like 2 hours for a cup of coffee. And it wasn't like I was going around banging chicks. I wouldn't sleep with anybody. I was just going out having coffee, spend a lot of money on dinners. I'm like, you know, I was like, they told me, don't take them out to eat. Get coffee first. Stupid me? No, we're gonna go out to eat.
I'm a classy guy.
You know what I'm doing? Wasted money, but you know, I met a lot of great girls, but met a lot of crazy ones too, right? And I remember the Lord was like, "You need," and I'm telling you, that internal voice. Why you're wasting your life? I heard it say that. This is what He said to me: "Stop looking for the right person, and be the right person. That's what he said. That was it. And I said, ouch.
Ouch.
So I shut it off.
Yeah.
I said, I canceled my membership. And the next 6 months, I was going to Applebee's by myself. I went to the movies by myself. And I'll tell you what, I loved it. It was like this. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I remember meeting at the time, well, my wife now, at the time, just, someone that was going to church. And we had one conversation and we became friends. But I'm not going to lie, when I first saw her, I was like, I'm in love.
Yeah.
But I knew that God had me in this season of being single. So I never pursued her. She was texting me. She was like, yeah, what's up? What's going on? And I'm like, oh, dude, what do I do? Right? So I was like, God, it's right there. So I moved in. I said, I pursued her. But this is the reason why I'm saying this is I want to just share this. One day we were in conversation at the church, and the conversation got broken up, and we just couldn't finish the talk. And I ended up going home. She ended up calling me up. She said, hey, listen, can we finish our conversation? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, do you mind if I stop by? I'm like, yeah, sure. Come on down. So she ends up knocking on my door like 5 minutes later after she gets off the phone. So I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, are you stalking me? I got whacked out. I was like, I'm like, this is what's going on. And she knocks on the door, and I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, I just got off the phone with you. How did you get here so quick? She goes, I live 4 houses down.
Oh, shit.
Right in front of you.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And it just showed me that when we force things, we waste more time, we waste more energy, we waste more time, more money, whatever. And then we do things God's way. Boom. So it's right there in front of you. And when we don't do things God's way, the blessing that it's right in front of you, you don't see it.
Yeah.
You don't see it, man.
It's so hard. It's so hard to, wrangle myself. I can't wrangle myself back in, dude. But like, I want certain things. Like, I want to be like you wanted the wife and the happy relationship. Like, I want my own house, and I want it tomorrow. Actually, like, I wanted it 6 months ago. I want it. Yeah. And getting there is going to happen when it happens, and being okay with that. I will, but like, if I'm so hyper focused on that, I'll miss everything along the way. I'll miss everything along the way, and I get lost in there for a couple days, and open my eyes back up. But it's a struggle for sure to stay present. Really, yeah.
Can I share something with you?
Absolutely.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. Jesus says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. When you focus on the all, and we don't focus on God, focus on what he wants us to focus on, we never get the added. See, when we focus on what he wants us to focus on first, because he says, seek the kingdom first and his righteousness, then you're going to get this. But yet we focus on this.
Oh, yeah.
And we never get this because he wants you over here. And and God will always do what he needs to do to get you to focus on the kingdom first. And it's uncomfortable, and sometimes it sucks because there's something on the inside of us that wants to do things our own way, even in recovery.
The driving force, right? I just want to have a little bit of control here. I feel like I should be given some. And can it be the small things? That's cool. I mean, I'm going to start off wanting control of the big things, like the relationships and whatever else I might consider big. Some people, job, whatever. But I remember the big switch for me that really kickstarted it was when I had done some self-examination, and I took it to a woman, and I shared that self-examination with her. And within that self-examination, what had been shown to me is that I was a sexist, and that word I wrote out. Now, I would not write that out about myself. Because, that's going to ruin my game.
I can't admit that.
I can't admit that.
I'm not confessing that to anyone.
Unless I'm going to try to manipulate it with it and show how cool and, on I am. But this was, I got to share it with a beautiful woman in AA, my girl Alice, and I'd been describing to her some of the stuff I'd written down, and I said, yeah, and I got to this point where I recognized that I was a sexist, and she goes, well, I'm glad you said it, because I was getting ready to say it, based on everything that I'd written down.
Wow.
Like, it was glaring. Wow. Once it got out of this head and onto some paper so that I could actually see what God wrote through me to show me my truth. And that truth is I don't know how to treat women. Now, today, that is much different. I've followed some directions. I've invited God into all personal relationships, right? Just because there may be something attached to the relationship doesn't mean I treat it any differently, really. Like, I can attach girlfriend to it or best friend or whatever. But the truth is y'all all are going to get treated the same, because I don't really know how to treat you to begin with. But it's going to be me trying to get and take. And when you don't meet those demands, I'm going to get offended and I'm going to get hurt, because I'm going to be fearful of what you must think of me, and that I must not be enough, and that I'm less than and unworthy. Right? This is the shit I bring with me to all relationships, right? So when I get to start to uncover that shit, right? Like, really do this dive, like Ryan's been talking about what he's been going through. When I get to that level, what happens is not only can I bring something to, let's say, that relationship where girlfriend's attached to it, but I can actually bring it to all of my personal relationships. Right. And I believe that was a real, because to be considered a sexist, 52% of the population is women. Right. And I'm obviously not going to try to date them all, type of deal. Right. So I'm going to probably have some women that are going to be friends in my life. Am I going to be able to do that? Am I going to be able to be useful to them? Right? If God has me here to be useful to his children, have I now just cut out half of them because I can't see them as that? And when I showed up here, I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, that was the case. But now, man, he has put so many powerful women in my life that it is like, I'm like, holy shit, I got it. I got you. Right? I can list 4 women right now that blow my mind away all the time with the dignity and grace that they walk with and what they've come through to get there. Like, sometimes they make me blush with their stories. I'm like, oh, damn. But that's the beauty of what we're all discussing here, is what I'm allowing God, or what I'm inviting God in to do. I don't want to be this anymore. I don't want to be that person. It hurts, and it hurts others.
It's good. It's good. It's like a two-edged sword. It's like, it's good, but it's like, ugh.
It hurts. It's gross when you see it, too, because you got to see it first. And seeing it sucks. And half the time, I'd rather stay asleep. Like, there was some shit, if somebody's telling you your truth, or you're seeing your truth.
That's why I got high.
Bro, for real, I'm running from that motherfucker. I don't want to see the truth.
I don't want to see the truth.
Fuck that.
Crazy.
It's dark down there. Scary.
Then I got to see who I really am, or what I really am.
Ooh.
Ugh.
Yo, for real.
Oh my gosh. I don't. That's what I ran from.
Yeah.
I don't want. Really, that's what I. And what changes us is that when you get this. So when we get this spiritual awakening. So I love how spiritual awakening is not just seeing God for who He really is, but it's also seeing us for what we really are. And what changes us is that when I know what I really am, and He still loves me. Come on. That. That's life, and that's the kind of love. Not the love from the wife, not the love from mom and dad, not the love from anybody. It's no human love. No, because human love will always let you down.
Yeah.
Always. I'm sorry. And some people might get offended of that, but
that's just that wouldn't be acknowledging truth. I mean, how could they not? How could it not?
People fail you always. Yeah. Shit, I fail myself every day. You know, if you want a job done right, do it yourself. I fuck that up every day. Right. So how could I rely on something human to take care of a problem I can't take care of?
Mm-hmm. And that's why we love fellowship too, because we can't leave the fellowship out, because the fellowship, you see, so God loves community. He's all about community. So the love of God will be manifested in a corporate setting. And so the hand can't say to the foot, I don't need you. It's the same thing with all. So your function, my function, us working together. You may have a different gift. I may have a different gift. But yet we're one body. We're one community, and us working together, and the love of God flows through community. And that one of the ways that the enemy, our spiritual enemy, likes to defeat us is to isolate us. Mm-hmm. If he can get us alone, boom.
Oh yeah,
I know what that looks like to you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. It doesn't, it's funny because, and I know Ryan has gotten to experience this as well, and I know you have, but that pull towards just keep moving keeps that isolation part. I remember hearing someone tell me about that alcoholism, the ism standing for I separate myself, right? And I was like, okay, I can get down with that, right? Because it's easy to remember, and it's also my existence. But once you get in the middle of this thing, man, it's real hard to isolate. That's the beauty of having these things that we were talking about, these phones, right?
Fucking phone keeps ringing. Motherfuckers.
Can't,
Don't you know I'm sulking today?
But yeah, no, that's the thing. I was sitting in, I was doing a group today, and I came in with the topic of hope and freedom, right? Because in truth, that covers a whole lot of things from start to wherever I'm at today, right? That there's a continuation of hope that this will continue to get even better, right? And I develop and learn more freedom. But the two things that will pull me back, and I mentioned to them, one was the isolation. To all of a sudden I start thinking, you know what, I don't need to come in here on my day off anymore. I need to get some rest, or I need to do some other things, because I have time for that. God sets aside time for those things, but he also sets aside time for me to take action. And I love that. I love right now my life has slowed way down, but it doesn't look like isolation. It looks like what God has done is come in and work some balance into my life by removing some things that I was unwilling to let go of. And he has come in and untangled some of my life because I do what I do, and that's I grab hold of things and I grip them, and because you were just talking about it, they can they become my identity, right? And they give me what I think this hole in my spirit may need, or this illness that has grown a little bit while I'm chasing around all these things, instead of staying into the community and just allowing, it's pretty cool.
That's good, man. It's so good. This is awesome.
I'm glad you like it.
I love this.
Yeah, it's the best. Something happens in this room, man.
I hope you invite me back.
You'll be back.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah. We've been talking about this one.
Yeah, I was excited for this.
Yeah. And we've been talking about it for more than just when we knew that you were coming. We've been talking about this one for a while because we were just very intrigued. You were going to be the first guy on here who was going to probably use that word Jesus for one, which we were both excited about.
Yeah, and I was curious, because I haven't been back to church, and I guess I still do have a resentment against it. I don't think I do, but I might if I haven't really gotten out of my way to go back. Maybe I'll go back.
It's one of those things where I don't want to be disrespectful, but sometimes churches can be like a fast food restaurant. Yeah. If you don't like McDonald's, go to Burger King. If you don't like Burger King, go to Wendy's. Just find one that you feel comfortable in, man. So when someone says, what church should I go to? Find one that feeds your spirit, and then find one that makes you feel welcomed.
Right.
You know, I've been to churches where people are just not friendly. I'm like, I'm not coming here no more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You just got to find the right one. It may take some time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take your
It'll
time.
be
Bro.
interesting.
So do you actually have a home church?
I do.
Do you?
So, and I'm excited to say that because when I was at RCA, I didn't have a home church.
Is that what it's
Yeah.
called, a home church?
Well, not local. I would call it local church, but
Your
That's
church.
just popped into
yeah,
my
yeah,
head.
it's
I don't.
Kind of stole it from
I don't
home
know
group.
shit. I'm very ignorant.
like home group, home
I
church.
stole it from home group without a doubt.
Yeah.
I do. I actually go to Crossroads in Pleasantville, Pastor Matt Mouliette. And what's crazy is that he was my youth leader when I was a teenager.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
He's watched your whole.
So
journey.
he's like, he poured his life into me. Another youth leader, Matt Holman. I'm sorry, Tim Holman. Excuse me. He poured his life into me, and it's just so crazy to sit under his leadership now. You know, because I was sitting under his leadership as a teenager, and now as an adult. Yeah, Crossroads out in Pleasantville. Yeah, I love. You got to check out the building, man. It's like an old cathedral building. It looks
Where
like a
is it?
castle.
Where
Trying
is
to
it?
picture.
It's in
In Pleasantville.
off of Route. Is it Route 9? Is it Route 9 or New Road?
New
I think it's
Road?
New Road. It's a gray castle. It's
Really?
It's
Where
been there
is
for years. Like there's no other building in Pleasantville that looks like that. I'm telling you. And it's like, so when I walked in, so I've only been going there for like maybe 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've only been laid off September. Yeah, so it's not been that long. So as soon as I got laid off, went right over there.
Nice.
Because I was longing for that. Doing Sunday morning service at RCA, I wasn't able to be part of a local body.
Right.
You know. Now before I became full time at RCA, I was part of a church in Seville, but they had sent me out. Like nothing bad happened there. I just left because I was going full time.
Yeah.
But I just felt like the Lord was leading me to a local home body.
Sure. Yeah.
That's sick.
I think that's important, man. I think it's important to be part of a local body, a local church, so that you can have an outlet to serve.
Sure.
You have to serve. I mean, the 12th step is, you got to use the gifts that God has given you.
Yeah.
You got to function in that, man.
Oh, you got to give it back.
You got to give back.
100%.
Got to give back.
The service side of it is huge.
I mean, I've gone to church a couple times, and it's not anything. I mean, my schedule, I've worked Sundays now for quite a long time, from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m.
Yeah.
But I've gone. I remember I walked into, I think it was St. Peter's Cathedral up in New York, and they had just finished the renovation. And that was my first experience since I had been a kid, where I walked into a church and it was boom. I was like, wow, okay. And we sat in and we actually listened to the mass. And this was pretty early in my recovery, but I didn't feel like how I would feel towards the end of high school, where I felt like this was just crap. Because I've shared it on here before. I was dragged around to church by a man who didn't look like he really understood what church was supposed to be teaching, right? And so here I am thinking, this shit doesn't really make sense to me. But me and my sister were talking about it, which was kind of crazy, about how we both remember the two different priests at St. Philip's, which was where we both went to middle school at, and how one brought that message of like love. And like everybody wanted to be at his service, and then you would come in sometimes and it would be the other one who had like a military haircut, and his homilies were like and it was kind of interesting, because what happened was I started to attach what I thought church was to the guy with the military haircut, so it was kind of cool. I went with my mom as soon as I got out of rehab. She was like, "Hey, do you want to go to church?" I was like, "Yes." And that was because of you. But yeah, so I've had some experiences. It interests me, shall we say?
Right.
Yeah, I think also too, and I do it. I think we all say it. I think it's just it's a thing. Let's go to church. I don't believe that you can go to church. See, church is not a building. It's people. It's an identity. That's actually what we're called as the people of God, the church. So I think, and that's just a mindset. But I believe that we need to be the church rather than just go to church.
Yeah.
You know,
I have a question for you. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
So you said at 15 you turned your life over to Jesus. How'd that happen? Like, not how did it happen, but what led up to that? Was it like the childhood upbringing in the church?
So I went to it was actually a Green Tree Church.
What's that?
It's it's just a church.
Okay.
Green Tree, that's what it's called.
Oh, the name of it was Green Tree. I thought it was like a type.
Yeah. No, it's all good. No. Yeah, so the name of the church is Green Tree. And I remember it was at a Phil Driscoll concert. Like, this dude can play the trumpet like nobody, bro. It was like this, like, just an awesome trumpet. So it was like a concert. And he gave an altar call. Like, it wasn't even a church service. Like, he just talked about Jesus, and he said, listen, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. If you believe in him, you ain't going to perish. If you believe in him, you'll have everlasting life. So what are you going to do? Choose him, have life? Don't choose him, don't have life. I'm like, I want life. Makes sense, right? And I was 15.
Right.
There was no addiction. There was no, I was caught up in pornography.
Yeah.
And that shame and guilt was really killing me, right? But I went up, I gave my heart to the Lord. And I remember at 15 years old, and I was weird because I had just moved from New York. I didn't know nobody. I was going to Absegami High School, started wrestling. And I remember I was doing a Bible club in high school called Lost But Found. And in between classes, I would go in the hallways when everybody's in class. I would go into people's lockers and just like put in Jesus tracks in the whole school, dude. And I remember people, and it would be like this gory track of Jesus on the front cover of this track, and he's just like ripped up in blood, and it's like, this blood's for you.
Smashing them with
just smash them with, and I did that, and it was like this. Who's handing these out? Yeah. And I would just chuckle. I would be like, oh, that's me, but nobody knew, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember my junior year, I just felt like the party was passing me by, dude. I'm like, I want to have fun. Yeah. And I just started smoking weed, and the rest is history. Weed, and then some coke, and then boom.
Keep going.
And then end up in a hotel room for 3 days smoking crack.
Right. As you do. As we do.
The norm, right?
It's a little transition from, smoke a little weed. Yeah. Well, first off, handing out Jesus music with the bloody, gory Jesus on the front.
This blood's for you.
Yeah, I love that.
Fire. That's a shirt.
That is definitely a shirt. Well, I want to make sure I reiterate that how much your presence in that rehab. See, I can look back today and recognize that I was brought to that facility from Florida for a reason, and there was a few men in that building and a few people in that building that I needed to meet, and God knew that. That's why I'm able to sit here today, because of that. And you are one of those men, right? That I know I was brought there because you were the one that was able to crack the ice for me on God and spirituality. Through the simple action. At the time, it didn't matter what your words were. You picked up a guitar, you sang a song, I cried. And there's where the crack happened, right? The break of the wall that I had built up. Because what you offered in the idea and relationship of God was different than anything I'd experienced up to date. And that's what, in truth, it seems like that's all I really needed to allow some light to enter, as we've been talking about. And I can't thank you enough. Last week I celebrated 5 years. And you are, and it's been really cool because the other guy I got to spend time with last week as well. So two of the people in my life that opened my eyes to things that I didn't want to look at, I've gotten to see. God has kept y'all in my life. It's fucking awesome. I can't thank you enough.
And I just have this. It's for you to say that it's an honor, but I want to talk about consistency for a second. This guy texts me for the past 5 years, every morning. I'm not lying. If you go through my phone right now, there's not one day, dude. I don't know anybody that's faithful, consistent like him. I'm sorry.
That's
I don't.
endurance and desperation, brother.
And it amazes me. And when I read them, I'm like, wow. And I mean, it's powerful. So, you're welcome, but you did the work. Every day, bro, text. I love it.
I know. Trust me.
I love
Same.
There's going to be some people, when they hear this, laughing.
They're
They're going to be like,
insane.
them too?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, if one were to not come through, I would be
upset if I didn't get my text.
I'd be concerned.
No, I'm not kidding, dude. I think it was like 12 p.m. And I'm like, wait a second. I haven't gotten a text from Darren. And no lie, it came like 1 p.m.
Right.
Maybe it was a technical problem or something. But
Sleeping in that day. Took the morning off.
that's funny.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was talking to a bunch of people. Like, Big Kev. I don't know if you remember Big Kev.
Actually, Big Kev just texted me on my way here.
Okay. That's my man.
He's
I talked to him this morning. He said he texts you every once.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
But everybody I was talking to, I was like, yo, Pastor Zack's coming on tonight. They're like, shut the fuck up. I was like, yeah, let's go.
I remember when I first met him, I was scared of him, bro. I was like,
he's
yo,
huge.
This guy. I have him on my phone as Big Kev.
Yeah.
I'm just the guy.
Me and him were sitting in there. That was like my first dude in there. Like the first guy I could look at and relate to. I was like, all right, me and this guy get it. Like, I don't know who we're in here with, but me and him get it. And we would be sitting in Mr. B's groups, and Mr. B would be hitting you with some truth, and me and Kev just looked at each other like, we are fucking up so bad. Just crying like, yo, we suck. We got to figure this out. Mr. B's like, you're sitting in the chair pissing on yourself. And me and Kev were like, oh my God. Crying our fucking eyes out, man.
Yeah, he's such a good dude, man. I remember having one-on-ones with him. I'm like, man, if I piss this guy off, dude, he's gonna pound me.
Bro, he's huge.
I'm like, this guy.
He's coming on.
He's
coming on.
He's
soon.
a big man.
He is a big.
He's
man.
a good dude. I love Kev. He's such a good heart too, man.
Oh, dude, he's a
good heart.
Yeah, he's he pulled me back off the ledge a couple times over a phone call. Powerful. He'll be coming on too. He lives up in Long Island, so we gotta plan that out on the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Nice. Yeah, we're still doing doing a little work on the remote interview.
Okay.
So that make it easier on certain people, So I think that's something that I was going to work on. That's what I was.
Yeah, the remote stuff.
Yeah, just
so we ain't got to do the drive. How was it, like an hour for you
to come here?
Yeah.
Oh, it was 47 minutes.
Yeah. That's
not that bad.
For like
That's not
everybody.
bad.
It seems to be.
Yeah, it was 47. No big deal.
But just to be able to expand, so that's what we're thinking. But for right now, it's been great. We've been blessed because there's so many people that we have around this area or that have happened to be in the area.
Yeah.
Have you guys thought of Zoom?
Yeah. It's just getting it. The fucking technology, so it's getting
webcam and Zoom.
Yeah, that, and then getting it into this, and then up into the portal. I gotta upload it to, and then marrying everything up with I think it's easier than I think. It's just doing it.
Yeah,
me and him gotta test it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little
technology.
My sister was talking about last week where she has a friend of hers that she works with that handles a lot of their stuff, but also has a podcast. So we're kind of hoping she'll give us a few of the corner cutters, so that Ryan.
Come on, Tony.
But yeah, man, we appreciate you greatly, brother. What? So if people are looking for this faith over addiction, how do they? What's the best way to find you?
So for right now, you can go on my Facebook page, and I'm gonna spell my name for you: ZAHARIAS, and the last name is CARACOSTANTAKIS. Yeah, that just happened.
Press that rewind button.
Yeah, just press the rewind button and
On
just write that
Spotify?
down. That's on Facebook. Yeah,
On Spotify, there's like the half speed button. So
yeah. So that just happened, and you can find me
How do you
on.
pronounce it?
It's Zaharia Karakostantakis.
Jeez.
Bro, school was horrible.
Scantron tests?
Oh, bro, my name never fit. Never.
That's wild.
I'm guessing that's not the 37% of you that's Italian.
No, that's the Greek part.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Facebook page, I do have a Facebook group. I'm not really active in it, but if you request to be part of the group, I'll accept it. And right now, I'm really working on content.
Okay.
Getting that course out, getting the membership site, because the Facebook group is just going to be an outlet of the membership site. But if you really want to hear, because I do little videos, every now and then on my Facebook page. You can always go on my Facebook page, request me as a friend, or my videos are public, so you can go, and they're short. They're not really that long. So
I do enjoy them. I check them out pretty much every day. So.
Thank you. That means a lot.
That is awesome. Yeah, so we'll definitely have you back on, especially when you get to a point where maybe this thing is really up and running.
Yeah, definitely.
Please have me back. That'd be awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
Absolutely.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, this has been a
immensely.
blast.
You guys are awesome, and I'm excited to see where God takes this.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been fun, man.
It's cool.
It's been fun.
We thank you for all that you do for the community. It's a broad community.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. So thank you. Just real quick, everybody, we do have we got another guest coming up after for next week. You've heard his name
Multiple times.
as well, and that'll
He's
be
the guy that told you when you asked him why you deserve sobriety.
He told me no. He said you deserve death or jail. The CEO at the time, David, had heard through his executive assistant that I was going around being very nice to the client, to the employees of the building, and he wanted to meet me. So he brought me in. He goes, I got a little homework assignment for you. I want you to write an essay on why you deserve to be sober. And I was like, hell yeah. And I go, Chris, hey, listen, Dave gave me this thing, and he wants me to write down why I deserve to be sober, and I've written this. And he looks at it, he's like, oh, that's great. He goes, you know what you should write? Is I don't, that I deserve to either die or be in jail. And I was like, what? I was like, why would I write that?
So yeah, Chris Brennan will be on next.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, love you guys, dude. Love you.
Thanks again, Zach.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right.
Blast.
Love you guys.